Do you know someone who's always broke, but everything they own is expensive and designer? We're talking the latest iPhone, a fancy laptop for work. But by the end of the month, they're hitting you up for cash just to make rent. Or maybe you have a friend who you know is drowning in credit card debt, but on Instagram you'd think they were a millionaire. They're at trendy cafes every day, posting unboxing videos of their latest purchases. Meanwhile, just yesterday, they were complaining to you about being completely broke. Why do people who can't afford it try so hard to look rich? Some of them flex even harder than people who are actually wealthy. They're willing to go into debt with payday loans or get tangled up in online gambling, all for the sake of appearances. What is going on in their heads? I'm sure you've met someone like this. Or maybe, if this is hitting a little too close to home, then this video is for you. Today, we're going to break down the psychology of why people go broke trying to look rich. We live in an age of fake wealth, where looking rich often seems more important than being rich. It's a simple, unspoken rule of modern life. People judge you based on your appearance. As long as you can show off expensive things, people will assume you were successful. Even if you can't afford the valet parking for the car you're showing off. That's the trap. So many people get stuck trying to build an image of wealth. Without realizing it, they're sabotaging their own lives. They're more terrified of being seen as poor than they are of actually being poor. In my view, there are many reasons people end up in this situation, but for this video, let's focus on three main causes. First, there's systemic poverty, or poverty due to circumstances. These are individuals who have faced uphill battles from day one. Limited access to quality education, a tough job market, and low-paying jobs when they finally find one. On top of that, they might have a family to support. They were essentially born into a situation that makes it incredibly difficult to build wealth. Now, that doesn't mean they can't become successful, and I have immense respect for anyone fighting to overcome these odds. The second cause is poverty by lifestyle. These are people who actually have the income and the opportunity to become wealthy, but they squander it on an extravagant lifestyle. Think constant vacations, expensive dinners every night, and always chasing the next trend. They make good money, but they end up with nothing to show for it. But the most dangerous cause, the one that makes people poorer in the pursuit of looking richer, is poverty driven by ego. This is the ironic cycle of going broke just to keep up appearances. This phenomenon is incredibly common, and it's not a small problem. Many people will take out high-interest loans or max out their buy now, pay later accounts just to look wealthy. This isn't unique to one country. You see it everywhere. So, what drives someone to the point of taking on debt just for social status? This brings us to a theory called social comparison theory, developed by psychologist Leon Festinger. In short, the theory states that it's human nature to evaluate ourselves by comparing ourselves to others. But here's the twist. In the past, people mostly compared themselves to their neighbors, co-workers, and immediate circle. Today, social media has made these comparisons relentless and global. We're now comparing our daily lives to the perfectly curated highlight reels of complete strangers. We see them with luxury goods, on permanent vacation, and living a life of leisure, and we feel an intense pressure to keep up. Without us even realizing it, this creates an impossibly high standard for what a normal life should look like. Once you're caught in that comparison trap, you're primed to fall into the next one. The Diderot effect. Ever heard of it? The philosopher Denis Diderot described how buying a single new luxury item can trigger a spiral of consumption. For example, let's say you splurge on the new iPhone 16 Pro Max. Suddenly, you look at your beat-up 2008 Honda Civic and think, this doesn't match my phone's vibe. People will think my phone is a knockoff if they see me get out of this clunker, so you finance a new car you can't really afford. But it doesn't stop there. Next, you look at your wardrobe. You can't be stepping out of a new car with a new iPhone while wearing a faded t-shirt and old sneakers, right? You tell yourself you need some Jordans at least. This cycle is endless. You keep buying more things to match the perceived status of that first luxury purchase. This is what traps people in a lifestyle they can't sustain, forcing them to rely on credit cards and payday loans just to maintain the facade. So why take that risk? This is explained by present bias. It's the tendency for our brains to prioritize immediate gratification over long-term consequences. People choose to enjoy the feeling of being rich now, even if it means facing crushing debt later. They think, I'll deal with the bills later. Right now I want to enjoy this. Furthermore, in our culture, poverty is often stigmatized and viewed as a personal failure. To avoid that label, people are willing to work themselves to the bone just to afford status symbols, even if it means they have zero savings and no real wealth. Tragically, this pursuit of pride leaves many people trapped by debt collectors and financial ruin. So, what's the end result of all this? Obviously, debt piles up, mental health suffers, and life becomes incredibly stressful. All your energy goes into looking rich instead of becoming rich. If you're thinking, hey, it's my money, I'll do what I want with it, you're right, it's your choice. You can keep hustling to live up to other people's expectations, but if you want to break free from this vicious cycle, here are a few simple places to start. 1. Realize that no one actually cares that much. Social validation is not as important as you think. People are too busy worrying about their own lives to care if you're using an iPhone or an Android. They might notice your fancy new toy for a second, but then they'll go right back to thinking about their own problems. Wasting money or going into debt to impress people who barely think about you is a losing game. 2. Change your goal from looking rich to being rich. As Morgan Housel says in his book, The Psychology of Money, building wealth has more to do with your behavior than your intelligence. You can have a PhD in economics and watch every finance guru on YouTube, but you'll still end up broke if you spend every dollar you make trying to impress others. Shift your mindset from buying things that depreciate to investing in assets that grow. 3. Drastically reduce your social media consumption. One of the biggest drivers of this pressure is social media. Every day, you're fed a stream of people flexing a lifestyle that seems effortless. But you have to remember, you are only seeing a curated highlight reel, not the full reality. You don't know if they're actually rich or if they're just faking it too. You don't know if that's their car or if it's a rental for the weekend. The less you expose yourself to these curated images, the more content you will be with your own life. You'll find that happiness comes not from comparison, but from living authentically within your means. Think about it. Why sacrifice your peace of mind for a performance that no one is really watching? Why worry about looking rich when you could be quietly and steadily becoming rich? Are you willing to live under constant pressure, drowning in debt, just to be accepted by people who don't genuinely care about you? If you recognize that this is a vicious cycle holding you back from true freedom, then it's time for a change. Focus on building real wealth, not just the appearance of it. My philosophy is this: I'd rather live a comfortable life than a fancy one. I still like nice things, but I only buy them when I can truly afford them. What do you think? Are you still chasing status, or have you found a different way? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. If this video gave you something to think about, hit the like button. Thanks for watching.